Harrison Gillen. Chris Hansen.
Here.
Cassandra Myers.
Here.
AC Molina.
Here.
Scott Staub.
Here.
Marlene Whitney.
Here.
Lisa Gary.
Here.
Stand for the flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and now we will open up for a time of open forum. If there's anybody that wants to address the board. If not, we will move on to approval of the agenda. I have a couple modifications on number 24. We'll make a 24A for classified resignations and a 24B. We'll make 24B.
Okay, Chris, sorry. Say
Nope,
that
you're
one more
fine. Nope. 24A will be for approval of classified resignations. And then 24 will become 24B.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same thing on 27. Approval of supplemental resignations will be 27A. And then 27B will become, or 27 will become 27B. So I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended, if there's nothing else.
So moved.
I'll second.
Marlene, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the consent calendar. There's copies of the minutes from the regular meeting and the special meeting in the packet, as well as the bills. If there was any questions or concerns? If not, transfers?
Yes. I need to make a request of $40,000 from general to folk ed and $5,000 from LOB to in-service.
Okay.
Did you say 40,000 from general to what?
40,000 from general to vocational,
Okay, sure.
and then 5,000 from LOB to in-service.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Thanks, Marlene. Second?
I'll second.
Thanks, AZ. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, communications from PKNEA.
I don't have any from PKNE.
And we do have a thank you card from Wise Family. Thank you for the prayers, gifts, support, floral gift shared with our family during Luke's illness and funeral. May you all be richly blessed in return. Luke Wise Family. So pass that around. All right, we'll move on to reports. I don't think there's anything new on the Smoky. Maybe there was. I don't think there's nothing. The minutes will stand as printed. Special ed co-op.
Not much. It was actually a fast meeting. I know there's quite a bit on the back, but it was just mostly accepting the positions, resignations, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Any Board of Education member reports? If not, the principal reports were emailed out, and then they're in your packet as well. If there was any questions on those.
Just if you're okay with it, Mr. Reinhardt has a presentation he can show you a little bit more about the family engagement survey.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So actually, if you want to grab my principal's report, included some numbers there, just so that you could have something in front of you to look at as I was kind of showing you too. Maybe.
Start on the second page.
A couple things just to point out. Let's see, I'm looking at this is the overall, yeah. So we started implementing the family engagement survey, actually the 2017-2018 school year. And it would be on, page 2. You can see there's that larger table there with what I went back and I was just showing you kind of a history of where our numbers have fallen. Of course, we did not take part of it in 2020, 2021, as we were not in session during the normal time that we do this. This is usually a March project. You can imagine, or if you can remember what we were doing in March of that year. But the other thing I take note of is that it actually was in 2022. You'll see that top line, the total number of responses. In 22-23, we had our highest participation with 125 responses. Last year we fell down to 60, and then unfortunately this year was our lowest response we've had since we've been doing it. We fell down to 49 responses. So, you know, that's something that when I put the survey, I engaged the survey to be active and take responses, you know, from that day on, I kind of just tracked that off and on. And unfortunately I could tell we weren't getting the response kind of that we normally get. Which is kind of odd because I feel like both this year and last year, in terms of advertising and getting the word out, of course we use our district Facebook page. I created QR codes for parents to be able just to scan with their phones when they came in for parent-teacher conferences, so I thought maybe that'd be something as maybe they're waiting, they could scan the code, take the survey for us, you know, but unfortunately we just didn't get the responses, you know, that we normally do. Last year, even again, it wasn't necessarily our highest response year, but last year I did share with the staff, and actually it would have been at the very beginning of this year at our back to school in-service, we as a district received the highest scores in all the categories that we ever have. You know, so that was something we were definitely pretty proud of, and in fact, let's see, what, 5 domains, not only did we have the highest score last year within the domains, but there's about 4 to 5 questions within each one of those, and not only we scored our highest on each question. I mean, we really, last year's survey, we knocked it out of the park. You know, this year, of course, not necessarily the case. You know, we had some scores that went the other way, but again, you got to take in response, I guess, number of responses and things like that too. So, you know, those are just some things that I noticed, and not to take up a lot of time, but here's the welcoming environment. The one here, the school and staff, the principals, teachers, and counselors are welcoming to my family. That 4.31, I believe that's one of our highest points we've seen on that item for quite a while, if not maybe ever. Our highest score on this one, school and staff communicate with me in my preferred language, using words that are easy to understand. You know, my time kind of watching this, you know, I don't think we've ever gotten a perfect 5.0 score, but 4.5, and I mean, those are some pretty high scores that I've seen. The supporting student learning. During conferences, teachers and I exchange valuable information with my child's strengths and challenges. That one there, you'll notice the 3.6, the second one, my school provides helpful information about my support with my child's learning at home. You know, that might be one that we might want to take some time to have some conversation about, because obviously, you know, that's one that seen it rank as one of the lower ones. That, you know, I trust the school administration to make decisions that are in the best interest of all students. That's one of our highest ones. Lowest ones, I have opportunities to provide input into the school policies, programs, and improvement efforts. You know, I look at that one, hopefully that'll be one that will change, maybe at least from the elementary perspective, as, you know, we've getting our PTO organization up and going, and we've, here within the last, you know, month or so, we've had some activity going with them, and so hopefully that'll kind of get some input from that. But, you know, those are the type of things I think about, you know, when I'm looking at, it's like, well, okay, what do we either have going or will get going?
Can we use them, Chris, to help push out the better engagement with the whole survey in general? Using the PTO?
Using the PTO there?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think so.
if it comes from the parents, help push that out so we can get more engagement
Sure.
from people.
Right.
And maybe
Absolutely.
something that we utilize going forward on that.
Absolutely, they can really be the, kind of the ones that maybe, you know, especially helping with that communication piece.
Absolutely, I mean, that's kinda why, from my understanding, that's kinda why it started back up. They want more say and more involvement as to what's going on. Well, this helps determine numbers for that specific reason, you know? Where are we succeeding, where are we not?
Yep.
It goes hand in hand with that organization to help
Right.
too,
Right.
so.
Right, absolutely. I think, yeah, this was our last one, the community involvement. What was our highest one? Partnerships with businesses and community organizations. And then our lowest, the school helps families connect to needed community resources and supports. You know, I look at some of these items and I see that with some of the, again, the PTO, some of the other things, some of the other changes, I would anticipate that, you know, maybe we see some different results and things like that, so. You know, these are one of the things, this family engagement survey, I mean, it does, I mean, other than just, of course, it's I guess you could say a little bit of a snapshot, you know, of all things we got going on, but, you know, we usually talk about it in our back to school in-service each year, just to give teachers some insight as far as how we're doing, where's some of our strengths, where's some of our weaknesses, you know, it brings up some good conversations, so.
Good,
Good.
thank you. Thanks for the information. All right, and we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Okay, so prom was held this weekend. As most of you are aware, my husband and I had the opportunity to attend the dinner in the promenade and watch the crowning. Jaden Morris was crowned the king, Marley Dobson was crowned queen. The students looked amazing, the food was delicious. It was just a really, really nice evening. And I think other than the students and sponsors being a little bit tired today, I think it went really well. Our summer school food service program, again, this year will be held during the months of June and July. So our first day of meals for summer will be June 2nd, and we're gonna run through July 30th. Of course, we'll be getting some information out about that as well. We will be utilizing the non-congregate status, which means that they are able to take their meals to go. With the help of Chris and Kelly Hansen, I was able to finally visit with an elevator company. So a company out of Wichita gave me a call and came and looked at our elevator. The one that we currently have is no longer available. So therefore, getting it up to code is going to be probably impossible. So we're looking at replacing it. So I'll start working on a spec sheet so we can put it out for bid in the near future. In your packets, I included a copy of our current enrollment, and then you might want to pull that sheet out. Later on this evening, we're going to be discussing our open enrollment policy, including our projected enrollment and our capacity numbers. But what I wanted you to see was that these numbers that I pulled from Mr. Reinhardt and Mr. Hahn's information shows that as of right now, we're projected to be up another 14 students. So if you look at our pre-K compared to last year at this time, we're down 2 because last year at this time we had 50. No, excuse me. Yes, when we were projecting, we had 50. This year we're projecting 48. Right now, K6, we're projecting 199, and those are based on actual numbers. And last year, we were at 185, so we're up 14. And then in our 7 and 8, last year we were at 71, this year we're at 75, so we're up 4. And then 9, 12, last year we were at 115, and right now we're at 113. So with 2 up, 2 down, and back and forth, it looks like we're gonna be up about 14. So that would be excellent. Okay, school specialties. So we were able to well, I don't know that it's gone through yet, but we're working to submit our furniture order to replace the traveling classrooms. And as you might recall, that is Mrs. Crope's room and Mrs. Brown's room, and then some science chairs, stools in Mr. Hageman's room, science lab. When they came to visit with us last week, they invited us to attend their innovation center in Dallas, Texas this summer. They've invited us to come June 16th through the 18th, and they're going to cover all costs associated with it. The only thing they do not cover is the transportation or the means to get there. So I've been looking at flights just so that we would have a baseline to see where we are. Right now we could fly out of Hayes for a little over 400 a piece. I looked up Wichita and it's over 600, which I think Hayes is probably looking to get to be pretty competitive. That's what I've noticed here lately. If we can stay within that range, is the board okay with us flying?
I'm sorry.
4.
Can you tell,
Yep.
what was it for again?
Okay, so school specialty, we did a big order with them, you might remember earlier this year. And then we also have the 2 traveling classrooms.
Right.
And so, when we had them come back, we are finalizing the order for the 2 traveling classrooms. And then Mr. Hahn and his staff are putting together, sort of like to wrap up the high school, pieces of furniture, what it would mean so that we would have the high school done before we came over here and started looking at furniture. And so in our conversation, they invited us to visit their innovation center in Dallas, Texas, and the dates would be June 16th through the 18th. They'll pay for accommodations, food, travel within the city, any type of, anything that we do while we're there. What we need to cover is just getting there.
I don't have any issues with
Yeah.
that.
No.
Who's going?
So it'll be Mr. Reinhardt, myself, Mrs. Crobe, and as of right now, I'm not sure if it doesn't look like Mrs. Brown's going to be able to go, and so if she doesn't go, he invited Mr. Dries.
Dries,
Doesn't say.
I was gonna say,
That I think that's on their end, if you understand what I'm saying, like, you know, for the school shopping piece of that, the connection. Yeah, it's your call.
why would Dries be gone if,
School specialty invited him.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that, he's not gonna be part of the district, I don't think he should be going. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay.
yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I understand.
I want a
Yeah.
Cardinal representing Cardinal.
Okay. Okay, the roof. So as I mentioned earlier, our dresser was finally here, and determined that it was significant hail damage. So we are in the process of putting together a spec sheet. I guess my question is, do we want to move forward with the fine arts area? So that, I guess that's where I'm coming from. If we could get something moving on the fine arts area, take bids on the fine arts area, then maybe we could do a comprehensive look at all of them. That's the one where we're having the leaks, and I think we need to move quicker than
Yeah, I think,
later on
I think we just need
fine
to,
arts.
yeah, I think we just need to move forward with it because, I mean, it's a problem.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, that's.
And it
like
has
he
been a
says,
problem,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
it is a problem.
currently
and
leaking water.
Now we've been waiting for the adjuster, and now we finally got that done. And
Right.
didn't-
'Cause you might
Right.
remember, we had the one bid several months ago, and then the next month, we brought in another bid.
Mhm.
Then we thought it was going to be covered by, insurance. It's not, but he didn't get here for several months due to snow and weather and,
Right. So yeah, I just think we need to move forward with that particular part of it. The rest of it, I think, is a bigger conversation
that's what I would, yeah.
on facilities as a whole and those kinds of things. So I think, yeah, I think we just need to
Okay, all right, we'll start working on that.
get it out for,
I'm gonna put it out for bid, but
Yes.
just for the Fine Arts Week.
Right.
That first roof one, I think is what we've been referring to it as.
right.
Okay, RCH Nest, we're making good progress out there. RCH met with the fire marshal, and the building has met all the requirements in that regard. So now I have the two directors, they're working on the license part of that. And then we're going to be setting up the facility and getting it ready for children. So I don't wanna make any public announcement as far as, cause all it is just speculation, but if I had to guess, it'll be sometime next month. So that's what I'm saying, like, don't hold me to it, because we've been working on this project for a long time, but, I think we're probably looking at sometime next month. The president of Colby Community College was here last week, to meet with me. He has some innovative ideas of how to work with local high schools, and so, while I think we already have a great relationship with him, or excuse me, with them, I think there's other additional ways that we can partner, so, I'm gonna sit down with Mr. Hahn and Mr. Reinhardt, and we'll talk about some of those, cause he's willing to make some things happen for our kids, including, some free tuition for a variety of different, ways of qualifying. So yeah, I was pretty excited about that. Think before you post. That was a presentation that we had several years ago in our junior high and high school, and, it was very well received by students and staff, and so the staff asked if we could have that again, and so they're going to be coming April 30th to give that presentation, and it's just it's a good means of communication to our students to help them remember to think about things before they go and put things on social media. They hear it from us, they hear it from moms and dads, but having someone else come and say, remember, that's out there forever, is usually pretty helpful. So they'll be here later this month. Our KISA 6-month check-in is this Thursday, April 17th. So during this time with our KSD representative, we'll be looking at our goals and discussing our progress. And then we'll also be discussing anticipated next steps in our action plan. I was able to, Mr. Irby was able to get a hold of the busing company, and they will have a bus here at our next meeting on May 12th. So I'll try to put that in a reminder in May. I'll have them park it right out front so we can't miss it. But we'll be able to, I'm gonna have them here at 6:30, so we'll be able to crawl on it, take a look at it, just so you can kind of see as we're starting to take a look at some other options. And then the last thing I want to share with you.
And he's gonna present too on financing options.
Yes.
So he'll present at the meeting too on different options, purchase, lease, those kinds of things.
Yes, sorry.
And kind of explain some of the stuff that we talked to him about when we were in Wichita. You know, the resale value of the buses and those kinds of questions. So he's gonna do a presentation on that stuff as well.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely.
should be informative.
I guess what I was trying to get across is that there won't be any decisions to make or anything like that, just good for you to see it and bring up conversations about what you'd like to see on it or how you want to move forward. And then the last thing I have to share with you is that earlier this month, we received notification from the Kansas Board of Regents that we're receiving recognition as an all-star high school. 217 high schools will be recognized at the next Kansas Board of Regents meeting on May 14th. And they're going to send us a link later in the month so we could live stream it. Going to share with you just a little note that I sent out to our staff just right before this meeting. The program started in 2022. It extends to it extends to the Apply Kansas mission to enhance college access by guiding students through that process of post-secondary. So, I wanted you guys to know that.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, that's pretty quick.
A lot.
A lot of information, pretty quick.
A lot of information. Any other questions? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the board, or the reports.
I'll make the motion.
KZ, a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, we are going to table for another month. So we will move on to number 10, discussion and approval of the KSB renewal. Of course, we received their invoice and their fees are going up, like everybody else's.
I put a copy in their packet.
Yeah, so you should have a copy of the new invoice. The first one is the membership renewal, which is what we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so not the season pass unless, we tried it that one time and it really didn't pan out, so. Because with the season pass, you don't have to pay per entry for some of the trainings and stuff, but we tried it that one year and it wasn't that good of a.
We didn't find it
We didn't
cost
really,
effective.
yeah,
We didn't take advantage of
we
all
didn't
the
take
tra-
advantage of enough to make it worthwhile, so. So I would recommend just the renewal, and then the second invoice is for the legal assistance contract.
I move we continue our membership and membership in legal assistance. So,
I second.
Thanks, AZ. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we will move on to discussion and approval of schools for fair funding.
And this was just an invoice, so I didn't make a copy of it. You want me to talk a little bit about schools for
Yeah, I'll
fair
let you
funding?
do it.
Okay, so it's been a group that has been together for a long time. We've been a part of it for since I've been here. I think it's 1/3 of the student population in Kansas. So when they put all the population of students in Kansas, over 1/3 of those member schools are a part of it. We're one of the smaller ones, but there's probably a dozen that are around our size or smaller that are part of this. They host typically two meetings a year. This is kind of gives us the insight on what's happening with some of the legislative conversations. We work with attorney consultants who attend both of the meetings. We have a lobbyist who is at Topeka, paying attention to everything and sending us updates. It's not very much money when you look at what we receive from that. The $544 is what our cost of that is. You might remember years ago hearing about the Gannon case. It stemmed from Schools for Fair Funding. Years before that was the Montoy case. This is a driving force behind that. They put together incredible data to show trend lines on whether or not we've kept up with inflation or we haven't. Here lately it's looking much better because of the CPI index. However, it also shows that we were so far behind for so many years that the base state aid per pupil isn't where it still needs to be. And with things that are happening the way they are now, I would make this recommendation even stronger than I have before. Just, we need to be involved. We need to keep fighting for our schools, so.
I'll make that motion to continue with schools for fair funding.
Thanks, Marlene. Second?
I'll second.
Easy. Oh, we'll let Lori have that one. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to number 12, the approval of the 25-26 district calendar. I don't think there's no
I didn't
changes
change
from
anything. Nope, I
from
met
the-
with the
the one we saw
calendar
last month.
committee, and yeah, this one's the same.
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Second?
I'll second.
AZ. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to number 13, approval of memorandum of understanding with RCH for the childcare.
Did that go out in your packets, or is this the first you see
I think it's
I think this is the first
Okay.
time.
it? Okay.
either that or I'll have to apologize that I.
Oh, no, it's okay.
No, I
didn't
think it is
dig.
the first
I don't-
time.
I don't think it was in there.
Okay, so, the first part, of the memorandum of understanding, just talks about the collaborative partnership between the district and the hospital. Under the scope of services, it identifies what the district's providing in regard to services, and then, of course, what the hospital's providing. We are going to take care of course, taking care of the children and providing their activities and their snacks and daily custodial services. The hospital is taking care of the facility, which means any upkeep, any replacement, all operational things are the responsibility of the hospital. Under roles and responsibility, it talks about that we are going to be recruiting and hiring staff. We'll be providing the curriculum and the materials and the supplies. Of course, we're the ones that will take care of the licensing. The comprehensive liability is just what we do for all the rest of our staff. It's nothing that's in addition to. And then, of course, we'll collect and manage all of the tuition fees. And then the hospital is responsible for providing the food service prep for the lunch meal. So we'll be getting that from the hospital, similar to what we do here, where we receive our meals at our daycare through our kitchen staff here, but we pay for it through a different program. It'll be the same thing out there. We'll be getting it through their kitchen. What I think will probably be of most interest is if you turn to page 2, we can kind of talk about the financial agreement. So you're welcome to look over all of that, but I'm going to kind of summarize it. What I had shared with the hospital and have been sharing for the couple of years that we've been working on this project is that our district is going to hire the employees. However, we need to make sure that the revenue coming in from the tuition, which is the charges for the services, cover the expenses of the employees. So payroll versus revenue. We got into quite the conversation about food and snacks and all of that. And at the end of the day, what I had shared with them was that our district cannot take a deficit on a daycare, on an additional daycare. So that the risk, financial risk, has to be assumed by the hospital. So we should be able to break even, if you will, by payroll versus revenue. That shouldn't be a concern. The next goal would to be that revenue would take care of payroll and food supplies, which most likely it will. It should. There shouldn't be any concern. Then the next thing would be looking at operational expenses. So what this says is that if there is a deficit at the end of the year, that the hospital will reimburse us. And if there is a positive balance after we look at all of the tiers of expenses, meaning payroll, food, operational expenses, and then finally capital improvements. But if there is, if our revenue is exceeding all of our expenses, then we sit back down at the table, we have a conversation, which would most likely be Mr. Reinhardt and their CEO or whomever they want to have as a representative, and discuss whether or not that revenue is significant enough where we are reimbursing them or they're rolling it over to cover additional expenses in the following year. So hopefully what this states, hopefully you're reading what it was that we were working to accomplish. This went through probably 3 or 4 draft revisions, and then at the table we all felt like we got it to say what we wanted it to say. The district will provide those financials to show each of those levels of expenses, if you will. And I have that set up to do so right now. I'll just transfer that to Mr. Reinhardt, and then he can either utilize that or he can, make it his own. But with the main goal being that we can break even, and hopefully carry over a little bit reserve so that the money covers any additional expenses that we might have.
I just really don't understand this.
What part of it?
Or I guess, I don't know, I think just the whole childcare thing at the hospital and how I guess understand why we're together in it.
Because
to this
the whole project's been a collaboration from the beginning. Because without their funding, we couldn't have started the project. Because they supplied the upfront capital to do what we did here on our campus. And so it's been and basically, like, all of the grant funding we've received, everything has been based upon the fact that we're working together to do this for the community. Like the collaboration, those are the things that were in the grants that, got us the money as opposed to somebody else, was those collaborative efforts. And so basically to me it is, we've been working with them, on this project from the beginning for like almost 4 years now. So, and we're not in it to make money, but we can't afford to lose any money. So that's where if the expenses outweigh the income, then they have to make up the difference. But we're also not in it to make money, on their facility. So if there are, extra funds at the end of the day, we can discuss whether we want to hold those over or if we want to give them back to the hospital, how that's handled. But basically, it's just the whole thing has been a collaborative effort between the school district and the hospital. Like, we wouldn't have received the first home if it hadn't been for the cash that they put into the project to get it started. So would be. And then the other idea was that for the scope of the project was, originally we were looking at doing one facility that would, could have like 50 or 60 kids, say, or more. But that was going to cost millions of dollars to build that facility and require a bond issue. So that's when we started working with some of the local daycare providers and the hospital, and came up with the idea of doing these multiple locations. originally, there was only, the original plan was one here, one at the hospital, and then hopefully one downtown, was the original plan. But then when we got that second building for the preschool and then outgrew it, we had the building to use. So that's why we did, you know, the expansion there first.
And the funds for the outdoor play area,
Right.
not having to duplicate.
Right, and not having to duplicate that, because that play equipment's expensive, and so just having 2 sets of play equipment was enough expense. But really, it's just been, like I say, a collaborative effort between us and the hospital, because we're the 2 biggest employers in the county, and you know, trying to give back to the community and to the taxpayers, and so. That's kind of how it all came about, if that makes, I don't know if that answers your question, or.
I mean, yeah, yes and no. Yeah.
Well, and was part of it too, like if, like for that grant application, we were able to apply for that, but like if the hospital wanted to,
Right.
their status was not the same as ours, am I right? Or
Yes.
is that incorrect?
Mm-hmm, no,
So
that's correct.
they would not have been able to apply for any sort of grant to put a childcare facility on
It's-
their property.
It also getting way in the weeds, but it also affects their revenue from Medicare and Medicaid. If they operated that daycare facility, then it would get rolled up into the square footage of the hospital, and then it would affect their reimbursement rates and things like that. And I don't understand all that, but I just know that it would
Right.
if they were running it. So that's also part of the reason why we decided we would be the entity, because we were going to have the first location on our campus. We would be the ones that would, you know, take over that part of it. So, that was part of the reason why we took it over as opposed to them, as far as the hiring the director and that kind of stuff. And that was the other idea, was this way. One of the ideas was, like, if you had a big center, you would have one director, and so, or, you know, a director and an assistant or whatever. But that was kind of the idea behind having multiple locations, was having one or 2 people that managed everything, and then, you know, have employees throughout. So I don't know. Anyway, that's how it came about. That's how it started.
It's all, yeah.
And the
it's
purpose
all
of this MOU is to solidify the agreement that the financial responsibility falls upon the hospital. However, in working with us, we're hoping that we can leverage the tuition to meet the payroll, meet food expenses and all of that. So that's the purpose of this, because the financial obligation that we have as a district is to those 3 daycares, where the hospital is assuming the financial risk of their one. So this kind of is a safeguard for both of us as far as who's responsible for what.
Looks to me like everything was covered. Just kind of quickly glancing through this. I don't seem to have any issues or concerns with it, the way it's presented on paper anyway.
I know it's kind of outside of school law, but would KASB look over it, or would that be more?
I don't know. I mean, I could ask.
And they might say, well, yeah, that's not really our,
I haven't asked them to do that, but
yeah. I wasn't sure.
I can if that's what you'd like me to do.
I go either way.
I don't think anyone's out to hurt each other on this
No.
deal. I think as long as
No.
we have
The
a
main-
true understanding as to what each role has, and
Yeah,
dictated by this, then at
Right.
the end of the day, I don't see why it needs to be that huge of a deal.
And the major purpose is just to get it in writing. You know, it's pretty straightforward, but to get it in writing, because if their board, you know, they're gonna have board elections in a month, and if they have change in, you know, board members, then they understand this is where we were all coming from back when this agreement was signed, as well as, you know, we have elections coming up as well, and so we'll have changeover on this board, and we have a new superintendent coming in.
Right.
It's just so there's a continuity and a flow that everybody understands, and a year from now, when there's new people at the table, it's not like, well, what was the plan?
Right.
Like, this is the plan for how everything's gonna be handled, so.
I make a motion to approve it as written.
I second.
Thanks. All those in favor, say aye.
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 I'm just gonna abstain just because I don't understand it very
Okay.
well.
All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to number 14. Safe routes to school contract. So this one is. Which one?
This is our pre-engineering firm. Yep, this one.
Oh, okay, this
And
is for the,
yeah.
okay.
I sent this in an email earlier today.
yes, that, I thought that's what we were talking about.
Yes. Yeah, it's this large document.
It's the large document.
Yeah.
Okay,
I gave you the copies to sign that are included
Okay.
within the larger. So this one is our Safe Routes to School contract. It states that, what the plan is in this next step of our phase of working with KDOT. It outlines exactly, who the responsible parties are and for what piece. BG was awarded the contract, I think that was at our last meeting. And so, now this outlines the agreement that we have with them, what they're responsible of doing. Everything from this point forward will be, reviewed by BG and will be a part of the KDOT. So this is we're signing an agreement to work collaboratively with them in acceptance of those funds. Because they are our pre-engineering firm, so they will make sure that what they present, will meet code. And then it'll be a process where it'll come into the board, you'll review it, you'll be able to ask questions of the engineering firm to make sure that, it's exactly what you want, that everything is, covered under code, so that it falls under all the guidelines. But you will still have a lot of input into all of that as well. We can't move forward without this contract.
Well, I guess again, I'll make a motion to move forward with the contract, sign the contract.
And once again, I'll go ahead and second.
easy. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll get all that paperwork turned in, and
Yes,
All right.
yep.
next we'll move on to approval of a donation from Next Tech for the touchdowns
Mhm.
for last year. So it's a donation from Next Tech for $150. We'd like to thank them for their continued support of the district with this program. Look for a motion to approve that donation.
I'll make that motion.
AZ,
I'll
a second.
I'll
Thanks,
second.
Cassie. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 16, discussion of vehicle purchase. So-
Okay, I'm gonna hand this out. And then Dawn, I'll have one for you, and then if you'll just put those in there. Let me make sure I have my own. Okay, there. One for you and one for them. Okay, so,
Yeah.
oops, sorry, are we short one?
Oh, no, I got two.
Oh.
Here you go. Sorry about that.
Okay, so, Keith Driley, who is the, KSDE Director of Transportation, reached out to us to let us know that, there were 9 passenger Chevy Suburbans available, and that they have 8. He has 8. A dealership reached out to him and said that they have 8 total available. So this, however, is not on a state contract. So therefore, we would still need to put out an RFP or accept bids for this. And so I wanted to share this with you. And I did put it as an action item if you are interested in moving forward. If you want to take more time, that's okay. And the reason I put it as an action item, because what we would have to do is we would have to put it out for bid, accept bids, and then we could, if we want to do the authority tonight to make a purchase up to a given dollar amount, we can do that. If you don't want to, we can take our time. These are not usually on the lot. It's kind of like when we received our, what year was it? Is that 2019? We got the last white one. Does that sound right? Anyway,
Something like
that was through a cancellation because we had not yet, Chris. We had just stop rushing me. We had a district nearby that canceled. And so this is just, this is what I have here for number 16 when it comes to a Chevy Suburban. Now, before we vote or make a decision on this, I want you to take a look at some other information that I found, or that Mr. Irby and I have been working on. But first, let's take a look at this, what I handed you. The first page, you can see it's circled, and it's a 2-wheel drive. So the first page is a 2025 Chevy Suburban, but it's 2-wheel drive. And then the second page is for a 2025 Chevy Suburban 4-wheel drive. So you can see as an estimate that increases the price by about $2,600. So I want you to think about that, and then I definitely want you to give me some guidance on where we are with this before we move on to our next topic. But in doing so, Chris, sorry, now you can bring it up.
Do you have miles on any of these? I know they're like really
They're
new,
brand
but
new.
they're brand new, not.
These are brand new.
Yeah, these are on a brand new car lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
But-
guessing somebody had a lease that they canceled or something,
Yes.
and so he has 8 of them.
Yeah.
And so they were reaching out just to say they're available.
Yeah. But the email went out to
Everybody.
all superintendents in Kansas. So, okay, so this is then a little bit of research that Mr. Irby did for me. And so before you make a decision on a Suburban, I want to share with you some other things that we've been talking about when it comes to the vehicle fleet. So, sorry, I made you close it now.
How about I switch to yes, but now it's not letting me. I'm gonna
Okay,
switch
while
up.
he's doing that, what I have in front of you is an email that we received, and it includes 6 different buses. So the first one that you're going to look at when they get that brought up is going to be a used 14 passenger. So you might remember Mr. Irby. Mr. Irby did come and present just a couple months. Okay,
Yeah.
you might remember Mr. Irby. Okay, this one right here. And Chris, I don't really want to play. No, I don't want to play it. I just want him to see the picture. You're
Gonna be
okay.
like the Access bus.
Yes, so this is a 14 passenger. This is the one that doesn't require a CDL.
Mm.
What I want you to make sure you understand though is if it's white, it cannot be used on a route. Okay, so if it's white, we can use it on activities, and you just have to have a regular driver's license. And so the first one that we're trying to bring up
I never understand why it does that.
is an old one.
It's been doing it to me a lot lately.
What if you download instead of
There.
Well, they're not pictures, they're all videos, so.
right? Yeah. I just don't want to listen to all the videos. I don't want to listen.
I can do that for you.
No, just,
I just want him to see the picture of it. That's it.
but yeah, that's good information. I didn't realize if it was white. I never thought about it.
Did you push
It
play?
makes sense.
Yeah, don't push play.
But even if I.
Does
leave
it show
there,
the inside of it then?
It's gonna go off there in a second.
Oh, it
That's
is.
fine.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I trying to tell my techie guy how to run something? I'm sorry, Chris. Okay. So if you look really fast, he'll bring it up. But what I want you to see is that, so the first one in the little picture, that is the used one. And it has around 20,000 miles. Okay, and then the second one is a 2023. It's a used one. And you can see it goes up significantly in price because it's 10 years newer. Okay, then we have, I think those next two, the 2024s, and then the 2025, I think those are all new. And you can see that they go up significantly in price, but that's what we talked about, is you wanted me to get you some pricing so we could kind of see and make decisions about the direction that we wanted to go. And then the last, not the very last one, Mr. Reinhardt, but the second to last, the 2025 Ford Collins, it's the yellow one. Can you show them the yellow one maybe? Okay, yeah, yeah. So that is a 14-passenger school bus also that can go out on activities, but you can use it on routes also. So like right now, we have a suburban route. So on a suburban route, we don't have any children who are under the age of 8 or 80 pounds. 8 or 80 pounds is, they have to be in a car seat or a booster seat or something. And as a district, we decided, I mean, this was years ago, that we were not going to do the car seat thing because car seats expire and all of that. So so our third graders and younger always go on a bus. They're not transported in a school vehicle. So in order for us to run that suburban route that we do every day, we don't have any kids under that on the route. This opens up the idea that you could have all children on a yellow bus on a school route, if that makes sense. It is a little bit more. You can see, what is that? $3,000. So your 2025 yellow is $3,000 more than your 2024 white.
But does it change who
No.
drives it or
No.
anything?
Mm-mm. All of these, each of these that I'm showing you takes a regular driver's license. So 14 passenger takes a regular driver's license. So we talked about it, you wanted to know how much they would cost, and so Mr. Irby did some research for me. And then the last one is it's the fancy one I'm showing you, where we had our young men come and present, and then, that's right, when Mr. Irby came, he was telling you that our white one has cost us a lot of money, our white activity bus. And I think it's a 2019. We still call it the new bus because it's the newest. But Mr. Reinhardt, can you pull up that one and can you show the video? It's about a little 3-minute video.
It's a different email.
No,
It's on the same one.
Yep.
Okay, 1 second.
It's the fancy bus.
Maybe it's
Try your
just go
fourth
up.
one. Or,
The link is right.
yeah, there you go. Your bottom link.
the bottom link.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one.
let's see what happens there. Maybe it'll like that better. Cause, Cassie, this will take you inside.
Hey folks, this is Michael with National Bus. As always, our phone number is 1-800-475-1439 and our website is www.nationalbus.com. Now, you've heard me mention our Ultra Coach liners a lot in the past, but today I actually have one here for you to check out. This is our Ultra Coach Liner DXL, our top unit, and it's only available through us here at National Bus, and we can barely keep them on the ground long enough to even be able to make a video about them. It's on a Freightliner chassis. It has a 54-passenger capacity, has the 9-liter Cummins diesel engine coupled to a 3000 series Allison transmission, has a 100-gallon fuel tank, 4-wheel anti-lock air disc brakes, standard rear air ride suspension, and an adjustable front air ride suspension. It has a ton of storage space underneath, running almost the full length of the bus. It's got full tents all around, good-looking chrome wheels, and it is just a great-looking bus all around on the outside. Moving inside, you have the power extending step and huge entry door that leads to a beautiful cabin with a high back reclining diamond stitch seating with armrests on both sides of each seat. All the seats are set in adjustable tracks so we can provide you with a flexible seating arrangement depending on your needs. It has the DuraGuard subfloor, so no need to worry about mold or mildew. We've added full sound abatement insulation throughout the entire length of the bus. 3-point self-retracting seat belts are installed. We have multiple entertainment screens able to play everything from DVDs to displaying the bus's front camera or anything else that can be run through an HDMI or USB cable, along with full airplane-style overhead reading lights, speakers, and personal adjustable AC vents, as well as a dual PA, one for the driver and one for the passenger compartment, and fully adjustable overhead ceiling lights with various colors and display options. Up front in the driver's area, you have the same diamond stitch seating with armrest installed on both sides, all set on an air ride seat for comfort. You've got power mirrors, power locks, power doors, and even a powered roll-down window for the driver, which I never see. It, of course, also comes with a backup camera, cruise control, 2 12-volt power outlets for the driver, and everything is well laid out, clean, and intuitive in its use and location. Now, we're very proud of these buses, and we can barely keep them on the ground before they're gone again. And when they're compared with the buses that it competes with, that are considerably more expensive, have parts that can often have to come from Europe, ours is on a Freightliner chassis so it can go to any Freightliner service center. It has a Cummins diesel engine that's widely known, widely used, and with parts that are vastly more accessible and easy to get. Really, with all the benefits of the Ultra Coach DXL, as well as it being less expensive to purchase, it's hard to see why you choose anything else. We can also offer full customization of the vehicle as always, with everything from adding things like Wi-Fi, more screens, restroom or no restroom, interior camera systems. Seriously, almost whatever you're needing, we have a full staff on hand and the ability to get it done in-house before you take delivery in our professional grade paint, body service, and wrap shops. So if you have any questions at all about our Ultra Coach liners, please do reach out to us at 1-800-475-1439 or on our website at www.nationalbus.com. This DXL is our biggest and brightest model of the Ultra Coach liner, but we offer other builds as well, and we'd love the opportunity to talk to you about your options here with us, no matter what your specific needs are. So thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
That's like the one we walked in. Those were nice.
That's the one kind, where'd you guys
That's kind of
go
like
with
what
the,
we saw, yeah.
Okay, so hopefully this gives you a lot of information and some price points to think about as far as moving forward.
They take trade-ins?
Yes, yes. Well, I did check
Be
on
able to
that.
trade that white one in?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So to follow up with that
Unload
comment,
it.
Scott, what we could do is, since we'll have someone out here, we can have our bus ready, and that way they can look at it, they can drive it while they're here, they can, so that when we're discussing things,
As long as it's not.
As long as it's here.
Maybe they can drive it. Stop.
Probably have to watch what I say. I'm on camera, so they can go back and watch.
We're just
Do
kidding.
research.
Yeah.
We just tried to
I
But
think
anyway,
they're
no,
well
that's a
aware.
very good question because, and yes, we did check on that. So, like I said, a lot of information here, but I wanted you to kind of see the price points of what some of these things would cost you before we made a decision on anything. If we want to move forward on a Suburban, I think you're gonna have to make a motion tonight if you want me to move forward on one of these. Knowing that, just give me the authority to not to exceed whatever, and then I'll put out an RFP, a request for proposals, and then, when I receive those, I can, we can get the deadlines on all of that, rather than waiting till May 12th. There's a chance we might not get one of these anyway, but that's completely up to you. I just wanted to give you that option if, and then again, all the information on how much buses are gonna cost us, so you would have some price points to know what you wanted to do.
Well, I like the idea of the trade and possibility as far as the Suburban goes. I know we discussed with Mr. Irby that he would recommend getting something like the yellow bus and a Suburban, because some of those are really getting up there in miles.
Okay, now Izzy, I wanna make sure, when I answered Scott with a trade-in, I was talking about our big white bus.
Right.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't think
understand
we'll
that.
get much out of the trade for our.
And then as far as the I think we were gonna do anything, going with the 4-wheel drive makes more sense than going with the 2-wheel drive. Just to give our drivers the confidence driving in some risky weather that we get around here quite often.
But those are more limiting though, aren't they? Right? The Suburbans, because
A Suburban,
like
you can
the
seat
little
9,
kids.
but your capacity is really 8. So our Suburbans, I see where you're going. So our Suburbans and van and Traverse and the car, those are typically used for staff or high school events, track, cheer, football always takes one. I mean, and so the vehicles are typically used more for staff and then high school, where our activity bus can be used, or excuse me, the white smaller buses or yellow smaller bus, the 14 passenger could be used for a route or a high school activity. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, it just sounds like, I mean, because even as far as like staff, not that anybody wants to drive around a little bus, but you can also use that for that too, right? You can use these little buses, especially the yellow ones, for anything, because it's just a regular driver's license.
And then I'm almost sure you have to have CPR. I think that's what Mr. Irby told us, if I remember
CPR.
correctly, that you have to be CPR certified
For the 14.
for the 14 passenger. But
So we're gonna need a Suburban and a bus, though, yes?
I
Is
wouldn't
that where we're
just,
at?
yeah, I wouldn't just replace your Suburbans with a bus.
No, 100%, but I'm saying, I guess I missed when Mr. Irby was here, so, I'm trying to gather,
No, you're fine.
what is it?
No, yeah, we kind of talked about, like, should we have two, instead of having two big activity buses, per se, like the newer buses, like Phillipsburg bought 2 of those new activity
The ones
buses,
that
like we just saw. Well, instead of doing something like that, maybe we do a new activities bus to replace the white bus, and then maybe we look at like the 14 passenger vans for like, so maybe wrestling.
yeah.
For wrestling, they could take one vehicle instead of taking 2 Suburbans.
Yeah, and so that's where I'm going, so a
Yeah.
Suburban, a 14 passenger, and trade that other one off.
Eventually, that would be the
What?
goal, yeah.
Yep.
Why you gotta keep adding words to my sentence? Not eventually, that one needs to be done.
Yes. No, I meant eventually all 3 would be
Thanks, Chris.
my goal, would be my goal personally, but
Well, mine too.
And I think the Suburbans, I mean, they just get used. I mean, we use them.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
we all know how they get
I-
used, but-
Like I said, that price that they've got listed on here, just a quick Google search was right in the line as to what they are right now for 2025. It's right in the same ballpark. So, but it's not, they're not getting a discount, but you're not getting raked either. So, I don't don't have a problem, but I'm with AZ. I would definitely do the 4-wheel drive one. If we're gonna,
I would
try
agree.
to-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
try to
not
get
that
it.
much
For the money, I think it's.
more.
Yeah, like I said, even on, you start snowing or sleeting or whatever, you can always, for a high,
We
you
have-
feel a lot more.
We have had a Suburban stuck in the parking lot in Minneapolis before.
Yeah. So, no, I said, I don't have a problem
Two-wheel
moving
drive.
forward with that, see if there's an opportunity at it. I mean, like I said, though, at the end of the day, I mean, if we go to, even if we don't get one, if we have to state bid for one or whatever, surely the price is gonna be, in that same price range. But if there's one available, then why not take
Yeah.
a shot at it?
And there have not been Suburbans on a state contract for quite some time
Okay,
because they're so hard to come by.
yeah.
And so I think that's why Keith Dreiling put this out, is to just say, hey, I know you're looking for one. It's not a state contract, but
Yeah. Yeah, we can give it a shot. I'd say give it a shot. I'll make a motion to let you go forward with that.
I'd second that.
Thanks, Cassie.
and do you
And
want
do you want to put a,
Not-
So do we need
not to
amount?
exceed
I would,
65?
yeah, that's just, yeah.
Does that work?
I mean, it works for me. Yes, it
I was
works.
asking the ones that made the motion and seconded.
Yep.
If they were okay with
That's
it.
whoops,
perfect. 65.
All right. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So we'll get the ball rolling on that one.
Okay,
Thank you guys for your hard work on all of this.
Yeah, I guess you weren't here that day. We just had him kind of come in and he talked about different options, what's available. And the advantage to the 14s, the big one was the driver's license and CPR, and you don't
Yeah.
have to have a bus driver.
Yeah.
So the coaches could drive it. And Harrison said that that's what, never really thought about it, but TMP,
Yeah.
when he coached there,
Yeah.
he would drive those buses. So
Yeah.
just adds more flexibility to what
Sure.
Irby has to work with.
Yeah.
So
okay, so would you like me to put out a request for bids for the 14 passengers? Also,
It ain't gonna hurt.
okay, and then hold off on the big buses until you've had a chance to,
find out more information.
let's let them come next month. You can take a look at an actual bus and all of that. Okay,
And look at what all options there are for
yes,
financing and that kind of stuff.
okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a bus route for Codell area
Yes,
currently?
yes.
Okay. I thought there was, and I was just thinking for the 14 passenger, because there is a lot of babies out there
You're right. No, that's a good
that are going
idea.
to be coming to school.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So on the, excuse me, on the 14 passenger, do you want me to bid white and yellow or just one or the other?
I think if we could get a yellow, that would be ideal, wouldn't it? Because
My recommendation would be yellow.
you can do.
Yeah,
It's more
because
versatile.
I think
You have the option to use
Yeah.
it for a route too, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. All right, let's see what we can come up with.
Okay. All right, number 17, we will move on to discussion of track updates.
I've got nothing accomplished. Okay, well, I think everything, you've already got everything that I reprinted out, so
Oh,
don't have to
sorry,
worry
Scott.
about. You're good. Just awesome. If you want to see a bigger picture, I got bigger pictures too. So we got a deal up here. So the Google, what it was it? Sheets.
Slideshow.
What? There you go. Slideshow. I had Jen work with that, get something put together. But basically, it's going to be everything that's going to come off of the sheet that you've got in front of you. So some things that we've done. You can just, however, I don't even know what I'm doing, Chris. Just push the button.
Push down. Is what
It's down.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. So if you want to have your map kind of handy, like that picture there, kind of handy, I'll try to walk you through. Basically, discus is staying exactly where it's currently located over at the practice field. Meeting with the coaches and different things like that, going through what United and Mammoth presented. It's just not feasible, nor is it really worth all the effort to try to reutilize all that ground on the east side of the football field. It was going to be a cluster. It's just not going to work. At the end of the day, where we have it currently set is perfect. They would like to update the pads a little bit, make them a little bit bigger. The current pads are like, I'm going to lie, I think they were 12 by 12, something in that ballpark. So some of the drills and different things they do when they're starting, they got a foot in the grass and on the ring. So they'd like to go have 15 by 15, which would make the pad bigger. And then also, instead of just having the painted circle on that, it's gonna be a theme in the shot put too, but it would be a sunken ring. So the seam, you'd have a lip all the way around the circle. You're seeing that more and more across the nation as far as elite throwers and stuff like that. It's just, you don't have to worry about, you can see it. Your feet are in, you step out somewhere, you're gonna see that a lot better, but it's also, it's just the way that the throws are going, So if we're gonna do it, let's do it the right way and do it that way. So the sunken rings was deal. Now, the poles, let me back up. Everything that I'm gonna present right now, we're gonna have to rebid. Okay, we're gonna have to get rebids done on a lot of this thing. So I wanna see what their pricing comes in on as far as this netting. We need to do something as far as protection around those rings. There's a lot of 7-pole systems out there with pulley, so they're nets. Pull them up, you hang them, you can leave them up for this spring, or if you've got storms, whatever. They're easy to take down and be able to store them through the winter, so they're not up all year round, and just we're going to spending money that we don't need to spend. So I priced them. I just looked at Amazon and some different places like that just to kind of get a quick idea, because everything that was bidded to us, for the most part, everything was all put together. Nothing was broke out. So I don't know what their quote is, if they're super high, whatever. You're looking in, somewhere in that probably 4,000 to 6,000 range for the netting or for that protection, but it's all going to vary. It just kind of depends on what we want to do. For mowing and different things like that, it may be such a thing that we plant them and the poles can come out in the wintertime. Just they go in during the year that we're using them, and then we can take them out. Cement them in and cement the base in and go from there. So moving on to the next deal. Oh yeah, I gotta push a button. Javelin. If you look at the sheet or at the PowerPoint, I'll just kind of point it out here. So this is the street that runs the football field and everything's back over here. This is the Becker's house that sits right there by the practice field. So basically what they're wanting to do, and it'll fit, is we'll just have one runway for javelin. We can't fit two because it's just not going to be feasible to do it. So it's one of those deals. It's like I don't know, do they have it on there? 100, yeah, 14 foot by 100 cement runway, and of course that's going to have to be same stuff that's applied to the track. So you have to have spikes and everything. But it fits perfect back in there. We were in the rules book. One place reads 100 foot, one place reads 115 foot. Hill City, I believe, is at 100 foot. Several other areas are within 100 foot runway. So it would go diagonal out to there. My biggest concern when we were talking about it is making sure for safety during track meets and stuff. And those sector lines are don't put a lot of stock into those. It's just the way the program, we drew them up. So they won't come near out as far as a lot of that, but you'll still be able to you'll have this runway for one, and you'll be able to still have your other runway and javelins, so we'll still be able to run 2 javelins.
Okay.
So we talked about maybe rotating, guys get it one year, girls get it the next year, so on and so forth. And I mean, we'd still be utilizing the other part of the practice field to still have 2 javelins going. So it's not gonna slow the process down. Again, like I said, it fits perfect right there. We can adjust that anywhere we need it to a little bit. But going back to the safety aspect, just didn't want people, if we do have it going 2 different directions, we're gonna have to shut it to where they can't go. But there should be plenty of room to be get along the fence and then work their way through. So
you'd only have one runway though?
only one runway. We looked, that
Without hitting the practice field?
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah, it's just gonna be
That's what.
because I would have, in my reality, I would have liked to have one on that from the south down there, but it's just not gonna be. It's just not feasible.
Yeah, makes
It's just not. So
still an improvement.
okay, shot put. This one is. This one's gonna be the one that has a little bit of stuff to it. I didn't put a map or anything on that, did I? I don't think I did. So if you look at this sheet here, all these trees are this is where the trees are at, okay? Currently, there's a whole row of trees all the way along this as well. This is all trees. When she did the program, it took it all out. And that's what I'm recommending if we're gonna do it, is to clear these. There we go, it is on there. So 2 options. And so this here is the property that we recently got. We walked back there. Now there's some different deals. I know when she put this on, I didn't have, and I never did go find all the legals as to how far east we own. So you have the house here, you have access, there's like a road and stuff back here, but I don't know how far down we come. If it's right at the fence line, their fence line or not, we'd have to look at that. Regardless, what we wanna do is there's another set of row of trees right here. And then there's another one, there's an old shed or old like garage deal.
Yeah, there's
back
no
in here.
garage back there.
We want 3, the coaches want 3 rings, and that's mainly for practice. But for when we do compete in meets, we'd use the 2 outside rings, and then you'd chalk it off. So it'd be almost, I don't know if you ever seen Russell, or any of you have been over there to the Russell track meet, but it's basically very similar to their rings. So, but it's, again, that one's gonna be a 15-foot pad by 40. So 15 that way, 40 foot across. 66-foot sector. So when I say sector, it's gonna be pretty much your depth of how far you're gonna come out from the front of the toe boards. So instead of going with that old shell and stuff like that, I think like a pea gravel, something like that. But with that being said, you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to dig and have a good base and foundation underneath of it. We'd also have to have boundary, however, at least for sure down the side, a cement footing, so we can keep everything in there too.
Keep the gravel in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that being said, one thing that I noticed with Russell, they had to cut theirs out because it held water. So we're gonna have to come, that's probably in the bidding process, we'll need some sort of opening in that to make sure the water
Yeah, like
drains.
some kind of drainage.
Mhm.
Yep,
Mhm.
makes sense.
So the two options is we leave it where it is, we take the tree down, those trees down regardless, and we move it back a little bit. After we walked it the other night, I almost prefer this bottom one down here. The thing about it is, and it's not on here, there's a fence that runs all the way along here. It's gonna be, we're gonna have to do something on that. I don't think we wanna tear the fence down, but at that point, we may wanna make at least a walk-through gate, or depending on, again, I've gotta do, we need to see where the legals are, is if we can get vehicles and stuff back. I mean, if we own all this, it ain't gonna be that big a deal to be able to get maintenance back there to mow and do everything like that. But we're gonna have to have access for them to be able to get back and take care of the area. You know, I almost prefer this one. This opens this whole area for walkway, and as you'll see in a second, you can kind of see it. Pole vault will be up at the top there. But I think taking those trees, opening that area up, it's gonna just make it a lot more accessible and a lot more nice, you know, more for the eyes, for everything else, so.
Scott, can I make sure I'm understanding you
Yeah.
correctly? So you're saying what we're looking at, it would be this one or that one?
Yeah, it's one, yeah, option one is the existing where it's currently at,
Okay.
just redoing the cement, redoing the whole landing.
Okay,
Option two, that's gonna be the one where it'll be on the new property, and there will be, like I said, the trees, regardless, whatever one we pick, we're gonna have to clean those trees up.
and is it, it's for both? It's for boys and girls?
Yes.
There's two, okay.
Yeah, there's three rings, so for practice, they'll be able to
Okay.
utilize all three rings for practice.
Okay,
And then when the meets go, the middle one more likely will not be used.
I
And so
see.
the two outside girls will be in one, and the boys will be in the other.
Okay,
And then you'll have your, like I said, these are just for visual more than anything,
Okay.
because it's all gonna, I mean, it's gonna look different once you get it done. But you'll be able to sector off there,
okay,
sector off there,
okay,
and we'll be able to use, yeah, they'll be,
Okay.
instead of looking right at each other when they're throwing, they'll be separated out.
okay.
And like I said, that rings, you know, the width of there is 40 foot. And I think, I don't know if I
Okay.
have it on there, but
Okay.
there's like 5 foot or so in between the rings, give or take.
Okay,
So it's, you know, the picture doesn't
Okay.
do a lot of justice to
Gotcha.
how
Right.
spread out it is, so.
But yeah, if you think the discus was 15 by 15, so
yeah, 15 by 40.
15 by 40.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be 40.
So they would have more than 15 by 15 for each circle during competition. You know what I mean? It'd be,
Yeah.
it'd
Yeah,
be
it's gonna cover.
like, be like the discus, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so on a bid, are we wanting them to bid both? You wanna see it both ways, or,
I would say really.
I say option 2.
I
I don't
would
know how
say
everybody
too.
else feels, but I think, because like right now, if you have to get in there to get to the scoreboard or do anything, you have to drive over it.
Yeah,
So this is option 2, right, on the picture?
yes,
this one here?
Yeah.
the one behind the house.
Option 2 is the one, on the new
This one?
property.
Okay.
Yeah, right here, Lisa. Yeah.
Okay,
This is north,
gotcha,
yeah, so it's setting back, so we're throwing from north to south.
gotcha, okay.
Mhm.
Is there any advantage, I'm just to go from south to north? Or do you ever see-
My biggest deal, and it was south or fence line. You know,
Keep people off.
Keep people.
Yes.
Keep people on our property.
I agree.
and because there's plenty of room. There's
Yeah.
plenty of room back here, and this is all flat. That hill don't drop down until back over here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they can set their lawn chairs and
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then, because I thought about that first, was going, just put it on over here and go that way. Then when we walk back there, so well, let's just, you know,
Keep people
go
away
this way. Then we're not worried about
Yeah.
messing with the private property, and we'll have our own area here. And like I said, if we open all this up, it's gonna make it look really nice too,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
so.
okay,
And I'm thinking then, we could, if we need, if we want to use it for parking, then right inside the gate.
So, let's talk about parking. And I didn't put this on here. But my thoughts are, if we do this, because, sorry, that's pole vault.
Right.
That's what gets rid of some of that southern part.
So, pretty much what my thought process on this whole deal is the coaches have requested bleachers right here, overlooking, keeping the triple jump and the long jump in the same spot. Putting bleachers up over here so you'll be able to watch here.
That's a cool idea.
And then you got pole vault and stuff here. So my suggestion would be we shut that whole south side of the end zone off for parking.
Yeah, my thought was if we did your idea of option 2, where the option 1 pit is, that could be parking in there, but not beyond where you have the rock being, because to me, if they want to sit up there in lawn chairs
Okay, I'll let you finish.
around the upper deck and sit in lawn chairs or whatever, I don't have a problem with it personally, but there wouldn't be any, drive-in beyond where that shot put area you have designated.
Yeah, and it'd be, if you're gonna carry your lawn chairs, why not on the street?
Yeah.
It's,
Either way. The
That
bigger
over
thing,
there
the bigger
is-
thing to me is having access from the gate. If we got to get a pole truck in there to do more work to the scoreboard or change it out, because at some point it'd have to be changed out. So having nice access through there without having to drive over your shot put rock and stuff.
No, I'm with you on that. But the
as
problem,
as far as parking, that's a board discussion for.
yeah,
We can decide that
yeah.
whenever, but
Here's the problem. Here
Right.
lies your problem.
yeah, but they can.
We're gonna have to maneuver, 'cause
Rifes can get over that,
yeah, that's what my thinking is too.
but they
You
can
know.
still get in there this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have all that. I think they still probably could too, Chris, because like I said, going back to that sector, it's not near gonna be that far out.
Right.
That's right, where we have that set right now is right currently where the fence is.
Mm-hmm.
And that fence and the trees is probably 15,
I see.
20 foot. So that sector is probably gonna be down in here
I see.
somewhere.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, that kind of distorts
Yeah.
the layout.
But I like the other one better anyway though, so.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah,
so.
but.
And I do like the pole vault.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
The only thing that concerned me, and I didn't know, we were putting a flagpole exactly right there.
It hasn't gone up yet.
We walked out there and I think it was right here-ish. So it should be out of the way, but it was,
We
if
might
we
wanna-
could've, if we could've moved that thing like more up into the corner, I think that would've been the ideal spot to put it instead of, because it's off the fence line quite a little ways, but it was all dug, so.
Oh, is it? I
It's
didn't.
dug, but it's not.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it was all dug when we were going through and looking at here a couple weeks ago, but I think
We
up
can
here,
shift
you've
that
got
a little
all
bit.
these trees, and normally track season, normally, about our time, if the wind's out of the south, there's gonna be some protection for the pole vaulters.
Mhm.
That the wind's not gonna be just drilling them,
Mhm.
The only thing that needs to be done over here, and I think it's noted in there, is there a lot of undergrowing stuff in there, we just need to clean.
Clean it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions? Like I said, we looked at doing a deal to where we could pole vault either way and make it the runway longer, but it really stretches everything out. I think we're just that way is kind of how we're leaning there, and that's 100-foot runway going to the pit on the west end. The only thing, like I said, leaving the long jump and triple jump where it is currently, we just need to add a 24-foot board on the painting scheme when they put the track down. We get into our meet or several of the meets, there's certain athletes that can't almost get to the pit, into the sand at the 27 mark. So we need to make a shorter deal there. And then, like I said, the other thing was the bleachers, adding some bleachers either on either side of it. But like I said, if you put bleachers on that hill over to the east, you kind of got it covered to a degree with pole vault, and then that. Okay, this is where things started going, not really off the rails, but the mind started turning a little bit. Okay, the small sheds. There's a shed in the garage down on the south end, or on the north end down there. I think where the flagpole is currently, if I'm not mistaken. Possibly move one of those up towards where the shot put area is, and for storage of track equipment, some different stuff along those lines, and then demolish it, get rid of the larger shed down there. That would open that whole corner up, add some additional parking, and clean that corner up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's in great shape.
No, and that's where we're currently keeping. That's where we currently keep mats and stuff like that. But
Right.
one good storm, and then we're have everything on the mats in there. You know. So with that being said, I don't think I have a picture of the other. If I do, yeah, I do. So what we were looking at, if we do that for storage, try to stay out of the way. That's our current building down there. There's plenty of room to add about 30 foot, try to tie onto that, and put doors and stuff on that end, to be able to store everything that we need as far as the track equipment, from mats to whatever. If football wants to store all their equipment and everything down there, then everything's down at that facility. It's kind of what we were looking at. Again, that would do two things. That would modernize this a little bit. My understanding was back in the day, it was proposed and shot down because they didn't want to build the building any bigger. That was before my time, where we would have had an argument. But if we remove these buildings up in here, like I said, it's going to open that whole deal there, make it look a lot nicer without having those right sitting in the center of the deal. Again, we'll need to bid it to see what it's going to cost, Lisa, as to if it's a feasible deal. You know, there's a lot of, it just make things, like I said, it would clean that whole area up. It'd uniform our whole facility down there. It'd make it look nice. And at the same time, you know, if we do host a regional or a league or whatever, and we need some room for meetings, I mean, other than just cramped in a locker room or whatever, you'd be able to have that facility in there to put your scales, different things like that, to get stuff weighed in. And like I said, then the storage, we just have to figure out what kind of doors and stuff we want on that end. But we'd be able to store all the mats, store everything in there, and then as well as, like I said, be utilized for football, different things, you know, cross country, whatever. We can utilize that for storage for them as well. And that's kind of the proposal on that deal. So we started at 25 foot, but there's the 30 foot is, there's nothing, we're not into the handicap parking at all. There's still, those spots are still here, even with that 30 foot extended on. So you're not gonna really lose anything on that end of it. Any questions up to this point? I feel like I'm just rambling.
Nope, you're doing good.
Good.
Okay, and this is the next big one, when we're talking money. The proposals that I look like was just a resurface the track, resurface it, redo it. You know, I think one of them had removal and demolition and whatever, but it didn't specify exactly what. I think it was just resurface. After talking to the coaches, it's one of those deals where we almost need to, is a resurface feasible to keep doing every 2 or 3 years? It seems like that we're having to redo something to the track. You know, last time we did it, it bubbled up in that whole one corner. You know, what's causing it to bubble? Is it the stuff they're putting down, or do we have an underlying issue underneath the track that we need to look at the base of the track? You know, I don't remember when we did the base part of that.
Before
Before my time.
before my time.
And I think it was before even I was on the board.
I think it's because I think it's when they did the field house and all that. Wasn't it all?
It could have been.
I think it was all done.
Deal with that.
So
Anyway.
it's going to be a discussion piece that we're going to probably need it bid both ways, just to look at it. Because here's my thoughts: if we're having to pay, these warranties are a year. Well, I think one is 2 years. Okay, well, good. You made it 2.5.
Right.
Now you got to spend whatever that amount of money was. Again, is it something we need to really seriously look at when they take it off? That, you know, yeah, we need to redo the whole base of the track, because, or we're just going to have reoccurring issues. And if you take the time and do it right the first time, make sure we have a good base underneath of it, get the track all reset, then, you know, maybe we get some longevity out of it. So we're not just a reoccurring $200,000 every couple of years or 3 years or whatever the case may be. So there's different things I put on there, you know, complete replacement of the track or resurface existing track. Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to the track side of it. We're going to have someone really look at it instead of just, hey, yeah, I'll resurface it. Here's the cost. You know, we need someone to really look at it and see if we have a bigger
What the
issue.
best plan is.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, just I'm going off of what they kind of wrote down on that. But at the same time, like the coaches are concerned that it's something more deeper into it that keeps causing us the issues. So maybe something we want to look at.
Yeah, because it seemed like the first time it lasted a long time before it really started wearing down.
So too.
And then we ground it all off and re-rubberized it, and it
Bubbled.
like
Yeah.
2 years in, we were like,
Yeah, and you're not, you know, it's like
So,
the
yeah, I
center
had-
and several
I had
of
the
them
same
others.
fear.
You're not seeing that. You're not Phillipsburg, maybe. You're not seeing that they're it looks like they're having to resurface every couple of years. It looks like theirs is lasting. You know, and I just, like I said, it's one of those deals when we got into the weeds of looking at this. You know, we can keep resurfacing it, but how much money are we going to keep spending until we actually have to fix if it is something deeper that we're going to just have to bite the bullet and get it done right.
Right.
You know. So, only other thing is just whenever we figure out the surfacing, be able to have the option to run the track or like the hundreds and the stuff both directions, hurdles, hundreds, just so we have the markings and everything are correct, a finish line on both ends, to where if the wind's blowing one way, we can flip flop them and be able to move the timers down to the other end of it. With the timing crew that they come in, they have to be flexible. So I think it's just a matter of putting a finish line on the other side of it. So just making it universal to play the wind, I guess. I think that's really about what I had.
I think they're all good.
So
Good
just
ideas.
just gonna have to get some of them, you know. Lisa said something to having a meeting at USA or whatever here.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Kind of what I'm thinking is, I can build a spec sheet off of this, have you look at it, and then we could potentially start taking bids, maybe have something back at the June board meeting.
Yeah.
You know, and a bid's just that. If we
Right.
Well,
get
and
it
that's-
and we fall out of our seats, then we can take a step back
Yeah.
and, you know, start.
Reassess.
But I think,
Yeah, I
Mr.
think this is
Reinhardt
a
and I can,
great starting point.
yeah, I do too. We can visit with some companies.
You know, it's like anything. We're from here. You know, you can have any company come draw you any plan that you want to have. They don't have a clue.
Right.
You know, they've never been to a track meet here in their life. They've never been to a field. You know, it's one of those things where we gotta utilize the people that we've had around for years doing this, that's their profession and they love doing it, you know, and I've been around track my whole life, and it's one of those things where, do we need to upgrade? Yeah, a lot of things haven't been upgraded in a long time.
Right.
You know, from discus ring, hell, those are the same discus rings and stuff that I had when I was in, we're talking 95, 93, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, and that was when it was upgraded.
As I say, they were
Because
brand
I
new
was
then.
throwing
They were
shot,
brand new then.
shot where the flagpole and those buildings are, is where I was throwing shot put, because it was shot put ring, and discus is over in that other corner. And that was the two places that we had it, you know, so when they put those in, that was the upgrade, you know, so. And the shot put rings, even that, I never utilized those, so those were a little bit after me, but we're not talking by much, you know, so we haven't done a lot. And like I said, I'll quit talking, but I think cleaning up and utilizing, if we got the land, let's utilize it.
I
You know,
agree. I agree.
spread some things out a little bit. It gives everyone room and plenty of seating back there. That's the thing about that deal is we open that up and clear those couple rows of trees out right, you know, along the fence. That's gonna be the topic though that we're gonna have to decide. If we put that shot put ring over there, we're gonna either have to put either a walk-through gate or you know, something, because you're not gonna be able to control people coming in and out of that, like football games, different things like that. You know, we're gonna have to have some sort of
Yeah.
system over there,
Yeah.
Right.
you know. And again, that goes back to where the property line is, you know. If that white line is accurate, you know, then that's kind of where we're at. If it's a little bit further to the east, then actually we have a drive-through, you know, back there too.
Yeah.
So, and with that being said, you know, you could even open, you know, clear those few trees that are left on there and have more parking on that over there, but that's, like I said, you can just keep, it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I mean, once you start going through this and looking at what we actually have and that we could do, there's all sorts of stuff done. And with this, you don't have to flatten any ground, you don't have to level any ground. Removing trees is gonna be the biggest
The biggest
expense.
part, yeah.
Yeah, cause that's all flat back there, and actually there's good grass, and I mean, once it's mowed, it's gonna already be pretty well set for everything around it, so.
Cool. Well, thanks for all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well,
Thank you.
if you got questions, holler, said, I'll have Jen answer 'em.
All right.
She's been a rock star on that, I wanna give her a lot of credit, cause
Yeah.
she's
Thank you.
built all that stuff, put all that stuff to paper, and she's really gotten into doing it. And so TJ and I told her the other day, she probably ought to go to work for United or Mammoth of
Yeah,
design.
they could use some help. They could use some help.
So, no, but I want to thank her for her help, and especially the coaches, because we did it in an evening, so they did it after practice and came back and went through
Nice.
everything. So I appreciate their time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to number 18. Enrollment capacity for the 25-26 school year.
Okay. Oops, sorry, Chris.
Nope, that's fine. Just, this is, like we did last year for the open enrollment, capacity numbers, have to be set each year, so.
So if you'll use the enrollment projection that I referred to earlier, just to talk about enrollment, now if we can use that same document, this is what we would need to publish on our website. And so I updated it from what we used last year. The top part is the enrollment projections, like we talked about earlier. And then the next section is the capacity projections. And so I left it where you had set it before, which was each grade level at 55. So as you can see on the top, you know, we're growing. As I mentioned, we're at, if we end up in the fall where we currently sit right now, we'll be at 14 students. So you can see though, under the capacity projections, that we still have room for growth. So just like this year, with our 7th grade class, next year with our 8th grade class is where we have, you know, the smallest room for additional out-of-district capacity, but we still have room for 10. And so that still allows, where I would feel comfortable saying we would still have enough room for growth. in addition to this page, there, it's our board policy, which I reviewed, which is, let me see, JBCC, and it addresses the non-resident, and so we won't have to make any changes here in our current policy. We just updated this last year to include the open enrollment, unless something comes out, in June with a recommended change or something. What we would currently have in place would be sufficient. We have the non-resident enrollment link, so this would be attached to so this would go on our website, and then it says click here to access the non-resident enrollment application, and then it's this, and I updated this. And I already sent an email to Mr. Winters saying, follow up with me about this, because we would get this updated on our website, so we'd have all of that ready to go. The only thing we have to have by May 1st is the capacities. So we need to set that tonight. This week, Mr. Winters and I have some time before we need to, because it opens June 1st. And then it does say that it's taken until June 30th, but technically you can accept all year. You accept out of district all year. So that would be the main thing, is just making a decision if you are comfortable with where we are now with the 55 student capacity per grade level.
I'm fine with leaving it as it is, and a pretty good number.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. We will leave it set at 55 students per grade level. All right. All right, I move that we go into executive session with Superintendent Lisa Gehring to discuss acquisition of property under the exemption for property purchase under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 9. What time is it? So
At 9?
let's do 9:05.
It's 10 till.
All that one's,
It's 8:53 on
It's
my
8:53.
phone.
Oh, okay, that's up to you.
9:05 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, yes, I'm bringing
All right, I move that we go into executive session with Superintendent Lisa Gehring, Elementary Principal Chris Reinhardt, and the option to bring in Junior high school principal John Hahn to review certified staff positions, supplemental positions, and current status of employees pursuant to non-elected personnel exemption in Tacoma. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom in 30 minutes at 9:36 p.m.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
I
Motion
Take
carries.
my water this time.
that we go into executive session with Superintendent Lisa Gehring, Elementary Principal Chris Reinhardt, Junior High and High School Principal John Hahn to review certified staff positions, supplemental positions, and current status of employees pursuant to non-elected personnel exemption under COMA. The open meeting will resume in the boardroom. Now I forgot what we decided.
15 minutes?
So like, let's just do 9. Just do 9:50. That should be enough, right?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So then do
So
I just do
4-0.
it 4-0?
Yep, 4-0.
Hey, you guys making me
We went through a lot of that.
I think I have it all,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Hold it here
No,
now.
just holler at me if you need something.
I'm gonna try to keep up.
I'll
You'll be
go,
okay.
I'll
You got
take
me.
it.
That's right. She told me, she'd say.
I'll help ya.
All right. We'll move on to item number 21. Approval of certified resignations. We have a resignation from Alan Brockmeyer for instrumental music. Do them separately. Here, just,
Whenever you're comfortable.
uh,
I think you could do them together,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, from Alan Brockmeyer, it is with mixed emotions that I formally submit my resignation effective May 29th, 2025, as I retire from my position as band teacher at USD 270. After 28 wonderful years of teaching, with the last 7 spent in this district, I find it both exciting and bittersweet to step away from a career that has brought me so much fulfillment. Teaching music and guiding students in their musical journeys has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. Watching them grow in skill, confidence, and passion has been incredibly rewarding. My time at USD 270 has been especially meaningful, and I deeply appreciate the support of my colleagues, administration, and the entire school community. The friendships and memories made here will stay with me always. Though I am retiring from the classroom, my love for music and education will never fade. I look forward to seeing the band program continue to thrive and inspire future generations. Please let me know how I can help during this transition. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful district. I will always cherish my time here and am grateful for the experiences that have shaped my career. Sincerely, Alan Brockmeyer. And we definitely want to thank him for everything that he's done
Absolutely.
for band at USD 270. And then we have a resignation from the Student Services Coordinator and High School Activities Athletic Director, Chris Strees. I'm submitting my resignation to Plainville USD 270. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you all. Chris Strees. So, look for a motion.
So you wanna-
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
I'll make that motion to accept those resignations.
I'll second.
Marlene and AZ. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Which one did you have? Wasn't it down?
But that's
Oh,
okay. Oh,
no, wait. Where
it's
did
okay.
I?
We don't have to. It's not
I
necessary.
don't know where I made that note.
That's okay.
22, approval of certified staff. I make a motion that we extend the Student Services Coordinator and High School Activities Athletic Director position to Risa Rudman,
I'll second.
AZ. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And then the position of elementary teacher to Danelle Wolcott.
I'll make that motion.
Marlene. Second?
I'll second.
Scott. All those in favor say aye.
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 What was her
Aye.
last name?
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 23, we have approval of leave request. Melanie Metzger has requested Thursday, April 17th, and Joe Dreiling, May 15th and 16th.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Thanks. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and
Who
then
seconded that? I'm sorry.
I did,
Cassie.
right over here. With the one of the night.
all right. And number 24A, the classified resignation. Dear Mrs. Gehring, please accept this letter as a formal notification that I am resigning from my position at the Nest Daycare. My last day will be effective April 30th, 2025. I want to thank you for the opportunity and experience I've had during my time at the Nest. I have made many new relationships and am excited to see these kiddos grow and thrive from afar. Sincerely, Peyton Thummel. thank her for
Mhm.
her work
Thank
over
you,
there.
Peyton.
I'll make that motion to.
Marlene, second.
I'll second.
AZ. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppo- Opposed? All right, we will move on to 24B, approval of classified staff. I have a food service director position to Miranda McEwen and a child care provider position to Candace Stebbins.
I'll make a motion.
Scott,
I'll second. Yes.
Marlene's got it.
Okay, Marlene.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 25, approval of summer school teachers. Elementary, Adam Flax. High school, Steve Bresch and Amy Crow.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Marlene,
second.
Cassie, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. All right. Number 26, approval of summer help. Amy Crow for summer help.
I'll make a motion.
Cassie,
I'll second.
Marlene. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now 27A, approval of supplemental resignations. So I have resignation from Chris Reinhardt as DLT Chair, District Leadership Team Chair, and high school girls wrestling coach from Ryan Becker. Expired on my page.
I'll make a motion
Scott,
to accept
Second.
it.
Cassie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 27B is approved. I move that we approve the supplemental list in your packet as presented.
I'll
So
second.
moved.
Scott.
Or did you make the
You
motion?
did.
Oh, I made the motion.
I
so Scott
seconded.
seconded.
Whatever.
She's a
we're
man.
We'll get there, Chris. We're almost done.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Now, I move we go into executive session with Superintendent Lisa Gehring to discuss negotiation items under the exemption for employer-employee negotiations under COMA. The open meeting will resume in the boardroom in 5 minutes at 10:06 p.m.
I second it.
Scott, all those in favor?
Aye.
to number 29. So after receiving Scott's projects and then just thinking about other things in the district, like the roofs on all the other buildings and all those kinds of things. So we have, our existing bond is gonna be paid off in 26.
2026, yep.
And so, I thought it would be good if this date works for everybody, to have a meeting to discuss projects like the track project, the roofs, all these different things. And to discuss if there's enough there that we need to consider, like, cause we can do another bond election to just continue the current rate. So, and we can, can't think of who it is, but we can bring.
Piper Sandler.
Yeah, we can bring them in to do a presentation on, if after this meeting, we decide that that's something we wanna investigate more, we could have them come do a presentation this summer on what the next steps are and how it would work, and they can also give projections on, what kind of revenue it would create, which would in turn determine, how much money would be available for those projects, and so that kind of stuff, so that we can decide if that's the route we wanna go, or, so, anyway, that's what, my idea was with that meeting, and we do have a board retreat, like in June?
I think it's,
June or July?
it'd be June 30th.
I think it's the end of June, yeah, your last day. At the end of June, there
I'll
was
make that
there was
one.
a scheduled board retreat then, but if we wanted to move forward with this, it would be something that we would, if we did it now, we would be on a proper timeline to investigate those things further, so.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I usually have training stuff on Tuesdays, but I'm sure I can maneuver it.
Okay, you think that'll work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that we need a motion. I think I just.
Do we have any events that day? No track or nothing on that Tuesday?
There's baseball. I happened
baseball
to
and
notice that this afternoon.
Okay.
Is it in Beloit too? Somewhere, cold?
No, I think it's at home. I saw it today.
Oh, maybe it is.
I think it is.
If I don't have anything going on, I'll do my
Oh,
best.
softball was,
I think baseball's home and softball's in Beloit.
Oh, I
Beloit.
think that's it,
Softball's
yes.
in
On
Beloit.
that, on that.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's right.
Softball's in Beloit and baseball's here that day,
Yeah.
so. But if that works for everybody, and that's kind of what my thought was, and plus, we can talk about,
Additional
the,
hires.
the bus and
Oh,
like the
Oh.
14 passenger bus and all those kinds
Mhm.
of things too. I mean, we can talk about any of that kind of stuff, as well as Lisa was gonna bring
any additional
the
hires?
5-year plan and
Oh, sorry.
all that kind of stuff, yeah.
I keep thinking that I'm just saying, it'll be a special board meeting, but as I visited with Chris, if we have any of the positions that you see are still open, if we have any of those, we can bring those, as long as they're listed on our agenda ahead of time on our special, you cannot change a special meeting once you publish it, but, and then have the second half of that be the retreat piece of it, just conversation about things you'd like to see moving forward. It'd be a good opportunity to kind of brainstorm some things.
All right, number 30, Staff Appreciation Day, Friday, May 16th.
Yep, Friday, May 16th. Typically what we've done is some type of barbecue.
Well, that's the day before graduation,
Mm-hmm. And the board will help out with that if you're available.
I can definitely grill. I think
Okay.
AZ helped
I
last year.
helped you last year, yeah, that
Okay.
can help you, yeah.
huh? What time was that usually?
Right about noon.
Yeah.
We start at noon, and then we have a presentation and some of that into the afternoon. But usually lunch is right at noon.
So,
I'm
yeah,
not positive that I'm gonna be able to make it.
lunch is
but
kind
I'll
of
put it
fun.
down.
They recognize like years of service and all those kinds of things, so it's kind of and everybody's in a good mood because it's the end of the school year. Looking forward to summer, so yeah, definitely if you could make it, and we'll bring it up again. a reminder.
Mhm.
And then number 31, assign board responsibilities for promotion and graduation.
I'd like to do 8th grade so that I can get to quorum.
And I would like to do high school
Okay?
for Abby.
Okay.
I'll help out in high schools if I can just hand out hers. But I wouldn't have to. I'll give her a hug anyway when she walks across stage.
And I'll be there, so.
So are you doing high school then too?
Yeah, Marlene can do high school. Marlene and,
Because we'll put them in,
Easy.
we'll put your names in the program.
Mhm.
And then
We
how
did
about,
last year.
You can
We
do
did
A
it last
through-
year and we did
A through M,
reverse.
and I'll do N through Z.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
and how about with the 8th grade?
Me.
you can, Scott.
Okay.
I should be around. Brooke graduates on,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
she graduates on Friday, I believe, so. I think I should, and then Hayden will be in
Mhm.
that class.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Hey,
So Cassie,
Okay.
Cassie and Scott.
Cassie and Scott, AZ and Marlene.
If some changes, I'll let you know.
Okay,
Whatever.
and then, AZ and Marlene for high school, but then do the rest of you plan to attend? Because we'll order flowers and have a seat for you on stage.
I think so.
Okay?
I mean, I don't know how long the celebration after Corbin's thing is gonna be.
Okay, what time? What
I
is
will
it?
not be
10
in town.
a.m. and Tuesday.
Okay. Thanks, Lori. And-
You're welcome,
but-
sorry.
I'll
I
be-
wish I could be there.
No, you're good. Chris,
Yep, I should be here.
okay,
I'll be
and
there.
I have, so I just need to check with
Oh, I'm
Harrison.
sorry. Yeah, I'll be there too.
Yep,
But it's
yep,
just-
yep,
For both of
yep,
you.
I
You
have
get
you.
flowers
Okay.
for
Okay.
just high school.
Just high school.
Okay, I was gonna say because it'd be the same. But
Yeah, just,
I think so, but I don't.
okay.
I can't
3, 4.
promise.
Lori's a no, so I need to check with Harrison. Okay,
I'll likely be at both.
okay,
Same.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I probably better actually because Avery,
Okay.
my cousin's in.
Oh, yeah.
I just might have to sneak away from them. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out.
Sounds good. All right, any other items for the good of the district?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
One second.
Second, third.
Same.
Well, I think that's enough votes to adjourn right there, so.
I have work.
We are adjourned.
Right
Actually,
on.
51
Ahead of
minutes.
schedule, buddy.
Easy with-
And